back over. That heifer right there just don't even care.
Straighten yourself out.
Action.
Hey y'all.
What do you say, folks? Hope everybody's having a fine evening.
Everybody.
Who we got in here real quick?
A lot of people.
They moseying on in. 25 in here so far. Appreciate y'all getting on in here.
Let's see, 20.
This is 25 on there.
This is behind and buffering.
Oh, my apologies. Let's see. There we go. Jeremy. There we go. I was thinking about it earlier, and I got to looking. I was like, the man done changed the name. But there it
Yeah.
is. Before I forgot, I'm glad he had popped in there and said something. But, like I said, hope everybody's had a good evening. Yes,
What?
America.
Who said that?
Who was that? I think
Danae.
Danae.
Jack and Danae.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't mean to brag or nothing, but we got a new president, and we have been unburdened by what has been. So that's all I'll say about that. Proud ruffle feathers. But happy birthday, America, again. Yeah, that was that was the kicker of the week right there for us.
He's been in an ecstatic state of mind. Hey, Pastor Larry and Miss Jan, before I forget, Todd called. He's not going to be able to make it in the live tonight, but he asked us to let y'all know he is shipping your honey out tomorrow, your creamed honey that y'all won from him. Before we forget.
He was like, make sure for me they get that there message.
Yeah.
So absolutely, Mr. Dan.
But it'll be going.
Who's that?
What, Mr. Dan's? Oh, an unburdened week. Yeah.
Oh, it turned into being a good one on that end. Like I say, wonderful, wonderful thing. Finally, our brothers and sisters up there in the Carolinas, Kentucky, and North Tennessee are
Finally getting help.
Yes, get the help they need and get them rebuilt. Then, Lord willing, the innocent people out there in California will also get the help they need as well. But,
Yeah.
let's see, Monday, had that. Tuesday, everybody knows we had the great snow of the century.
Yeah.
They said we beat a record from 1895 down here.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun out there.
I'm not going to lie.
That's it, Danae. We live at the Gulf of America.
That's wonderful, too.
She said, thank the dear sweet Lord.
Amen, sister. Amen. Tell the church. I could go on about it, but I'm just not
Thank you.
I've been driving her up the wall. Woo-hoo, boy, I've been.
He
Yeah.
has been doing the do-to-do dance all week long.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful on that road, Mr. Mark.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Mark Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Got them 18 wheels turning.
He said he's rolling.
That man's America, too.
Yeah, he is.
Keeping things going for all of us. Every one of you truckers, men and women out there doing it for each of us.
You make a very good point, Mr. Mike. But no, sir, I never have done that.
Put my flag
I've been
up.
fortunate enough to not have to know what that feels like.
What's that? I wasn't looking.
Mr. Mike Conley. So we talk about everything in here. Just wondering how many people in here has ever plowed a team of sweaty mules all day and they're having a competition to see who can fart the most.
I can't say I've been in on that one. I've heard stories, but I can't say I've been in on using no mules to plow no field. Done it a few times on an old Maxie now, but no livestock.
No, we didn't do evening walk in the snow. I guess if you count, taking the dogs out, then we did.
Well, our evening walk
We
was we went on the we went riding down the road a little bit, and that was about when we got back. It was around 2 or 3, I guess, when we got back. Which we didn't go too terribly far. We rode one direction. Pretty well had to turn around, even locking it in 4-wheel high. It was just getting to be too much squirreliness. Yeah, going up some of these hills. So we turned around and went another direction, and we got a little further down the road, and we was going to go try to take some pictures down on the little spot we go to the river, but wasn't able to make it up there either, with the road starting to ice up and things. So we just come on home. But it was beautiful and peaceful.
It was.
It was
incredible.
Absolutely. I figured I was going to be a Scrooge the whole time about it, but when you could hear it, y'all know, because y'all people in the North Country, y'all know, but
y'all live in it.
Yeah, you hear it coming through them trees and that little bit of, I don't know, sound it makes. Anyway, it was pretty. Got us. Well, I got a couple pictures of it. Let me show y'all. I'll show y'all the video real quick. Y'all bear it ain't but 16 seconds, so it ain't too much. Let me camera here. But this was right out back behind the bees right there.
But that wasn't when it was like actually snowing. That was the next morning. Went out and the squirrels were finally coming to life and they were knocking it all off the limbs way up high.
Oh, it was pretty watching it fall out of them trees and squirrels running around. But Pastor Larry, Miss Jan in here?
Mm-hmm. And Miss Leon.
And Miss Leon.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get us out of the background a second. There's the little church house nuke we built. Little 5 frame there. Pastor Larry, Miss Jan, them. One old birdhouses here at the house. Then that's a little old cedar. We transplanted 3 of them things from whenever we moved from our old place, and they wasn't but little old saplings. Now they well over 8 feet tall, but we got the horizontals in the background back there. Bingo. But yeah, just a little bit of it there, but it was beautiful. It
was. It made the cold worth it.
And the last little bit finally melted off. We're really getting this morning.
We still have a little bit, like little patches, where it's really, really shaded. But it was It was awesome. I've never been in snow like that. Like active snow and snow. It was almost as awesome as a s'more. Almost.
Just as good as relaxing. That's for sure.
What? Are you serious, Brian?
Oh, come on. Well, I mean, I'm not condoning it, but boy, what perfect timing to do it. You just.
Why would you say that?
Well,
Oh, is our camera messing up? On here, it looks really blurry.
Gary says them cedars are good to have around. Yeah, we got.
I like to smell them.
Got a bunch of them, and our old property here, way. She telling me.
This is not wrong.
There was an old place, from what we gathered, late 1800s, right around here. But there's a yew tree. I guess it's like a type of conifer or whatever, but it's tucked away in the woods right here at the edge of the property. And we try to keep our old cedars and stuff around.
Mr. He said, I guess we know how good he can afford that H3, laughing my butt off.
It's all that cedar. Mr. Mike. All that cedar we sell around here.
We don't sell it though.
Now we do have some that come off your grandma's up around here. And need to do something. Need to find somebody that's got a mill that stuff down. You talk about we can make some pretty boxes, have somebody mill it out. But talked to Mr. Russell Koopman. Him and Miss Sharon made it home. They had like a 1,300-mile and some change trip, but they made it home safely today.
Oh, he just came in the chat.
Also, y'all talked to Ed, son of one, for a little while. Tuesday, I think.
No.
Tuesday or Wednesday?
It's not Tuesday.
Yeah, okay, so it's about Wednesday or so. Talked with Ed, son of one. Y'all keep the man in your prayers. He's trying to work through some things, and
got a lot going on.
Yeah, so y'all keep him in your prayers. But he said he's doing pretty good, and Lord willing, he'll be back in the chats and everything before too long, and get his bees back going. He said he did lose a couple, but Lord willing, once spring gets here, he can get everybody built back up and get back on track with what he's got there. Who else? Tom and Melissa in here? Seen them? I'll hold off on them for a minute. Let's see. We went through, we finally got help Kentucky and Tennessee up there, California, everybody. America's back. The snow tornado. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was really cool.
We was going down one of the little back roads, taking that ride. There was I don't know what it looked, a tornado, if you will, to us, but went from one end to the highway across the other one there, and it was picking up that snow and just flinging it all around up there. Pretty.
It was. Everything about the snow was pretty. The only bummer was we couldn't really do anything with it. It was so, like, we couldn't even make a snowball.
No, it was difficult to make a snowball with it. A real powdery mess. But when we was taking a ride, after we seen the snow tornado, we come up, there's some crossroads that we come up to.
Most people have those in their towns.
Yeah. Especially in little towns like us, or little communities.
Mhm.
Well, as we come moseying up there, there's some people coming from the opposite direction. One older gentleman and an old F-250 looked pretty good. I give it to him. I'm a Chevy man myself, but looked pretty good. Then here come a younger couple, and they was on like one of those razors, ATV deals,
Mhm.
jacked up, what have you. Well, we got to the crossroads at the same time. They're looking at us and we're looking at them. So I just rolled the window down. I said, "Hey, y'all fixing to do donuts too?" And they just looked at us and I was like, "Do what?" I said, "Yeah, y'all fixing to do donuts too?" Figured everybody's meeting up right here and just fling her on around a couple of times. The Alderman gentleman in the old F-250, he got him a good laugh out of it. And he said, "No, son, I'm gone."
Yeah.
He left, and the other couple, they went on. But we got some pretty good video we're going to try to put together for y'all.
It's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. So be a good time to work on that.
Yes.
If we can get ourselves together.
What else I got here on my beekeeping news deal? Mr. Randy. Tar Heel Randy.
He's in here.
Yes. I got his attention now. Do what?
Mhm.
But I seen that comment yesterday. We was at one of the youngest birthday parties late yesterday evening. And like I was telling somebody a few minutes ago, all the women, they're kind of over in one area. The baby girl, she's doing her presents there. All the women oohing and ahhing, happy clapping. Well, Uncle Tim is over here in the back corner, just, happy birthday. Well, about 5 minutes before Joey's live, I hit the button, kind of see what was going on in the chat right there real quick. Oh, Mr. Randy made a comment in there about people that come in 8 hours early and they don't even show up to the comments after they claim first.
Call him out, Mr. Randy.
Well, in my defense, we was at the birthday party and I'd have been in there to continue to claim first last night.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, due to circumstances out of my control that yesterday evening, I wasn't able to continue to claim first. But I'll be back to claim that first position.
Yeah.
I just want to let Mr. Randy know.
You're going to have to stay on him now, Mr. Randy.
You want to do our prayer list before we get too far? We'll open up the chat. Or what? Tom and them coming here?
They just came in.
Okay. Well, before you get started on it, you can get to your pages. But since they just come in, I want to tell Tom or Melissa or both of you, whichever it was that messaged us the other day. I think I was talking to Tom. But I want to tell you, appreciate you for reaching out to us just to extend an olive branch, say, hey, we thinking about y'all. You need anything, holler at us. I tell y'all, appreciate that very much.
Yeah, we do. Very much. On a serious note.
Yep.
I was laughing at Mr. Randy. He left you a comment.
Excuses. Yes, sir.
He's full of them. He's full of them.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Mr. Mark and his wife, too. I need to move her name over by his name instead of 2 pages over. Okay. Ed and his family, the Dirt Rooster's dad, Mr. Pat, Miss Deb, Grammy Lisa's son and 2 granddaughters, Tom's wife and his mother-in-law, Mr. Donnie, Mike Tangway and his family, DC's parents, Emma Hoskins, baby Luca and the family that lost their little one, Deanna Wheeler, her son Reed, Rachel Wilson, her sister Amanda, and her niece Riley, Philip's mama, his friends BJ and his wife, Bobby Spees and his family, Aaron Frederick, Mr. Larry and Miss Sherry Gandy, and Mr. Larry's mama, Keith Larimore, Hillbilly Earl, Steve Amos's brother and mother-in-law, all the war and storm victims. Let me see. PJ Hanley, Stafford Mike, Ricky Rourke, 29 Homestead, Catherine's son and his family, Sarah and her family, all of our government officials, Mr. Randy's mother-in-law, Cece's Texas Garden, Miss Janae Wood, Miss Leona, Terry Chapman and his family, Kenneth and Chris Wilkinson, Ephraim Palunga, Terry Bertaland, Redfish's wife, Miss Janet, and Redfish too, Kimberly's daughter-in-law Amanda and her family, so Sarah, let's see, Grammy, Lisa's friend Deidre, Mr. Dan Weaver's niece, who just lost her little ones. Let's see, the family of the beekeeper up by Spanky that passed away. Miss Jolene and her family. Brian Baker's niece Allie. Chris Medeiros' friend Jake and his wife. Brother Scotty McDowell. Kenneth Allen, Phillips Bee Yard owner that was diagnosed with leukemia. And then James Knoll messaged us and asked us to add the family of David Maland, or Mayland. I'm not sure how to say his name, but he was a U.S. Border Patrol agent from Minnesota that lost his life. So definitely remember them.
Yes, ma'am. I was just trying to remember to get that up there on the screen for folks. What Summit? I was kind of, as she was reading off the prayer list, grazing through that chat. The ones of you in the North Country, y'all fixing to get a warming spell too, or a warming spell enough to where y'all were comfortable with cracking lids.
I heard Tom and Melissa talking about they were going to be getting in, checking them this week because they were going to warm up some.
Oh yeah. I figured it's just us down here.
And Joey's. Am I delusional, y'all, or were y'all saying that last night in Joey's?
James,
James is not.
Man, quick on it. What'd you say, Mr. Thank you, Miss Kimberly. Oh, DC. That's a bummer. Figured you was kind of starting to idle on out of the cool a little bit, maybe. He's saying his cold is just now fitting to start.
His is fixing to come.
What'd you say, sweet Harlem? Okay.
Oh, he said they're getting a cold front out of Alaska.
DC?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Catch up, Buttons.
I'm trying. The chat is rolling this evening. Not yet. Okay, so.
I guess
for some of you, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. But from the way they were talking last night, though, Tom and Melissa's weather is pretty similar to ours, like as far as the heat and humidity levels and stuff.
Oh yeah,
a lot more similar than I thought.
Well, y'all
being
welcome.
as far away. I mean, they get a lot. I know they get a lot more snow and harsher winters than we do, but
Well, I mean, like
Or it
watching
seems like it.
Orion Hall, y'all, watching that dude, the way he explains the weather, but oftentimes during the bad storm seasons for everybody, tornado
Mhm.
weather, it's like our Gulf air funnels right up
Yeah.
into their neck of the woods and everybody else along the way. But for some reason, I guess that's the centralized location for our Gulf air to kind of warm everybody else up too.
Yeah.
So,
Pastor Larry said they're going to be up to 70 by the end of the week. We're just kind of going up and down. We're done with the freezing for a while, but like it's going to kind of bounce around from upper 30s to upper 50s for lows for the next week.
oh, it's going to be nice weather around here.
Mm-hmm.
Or nicer, should I say.
Minnesota Mike said they're going to have one of the warmest weeks there in years, high of 45, so he's going swimming.
What is this thing?
What?
It made the screen smaller for whatever reason on there. Makes it harder to read again.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever reason. Anyway, there's a link in there. If not, we got a little bit we can shoot a pat about. I know we was carrying on about making them swarm boxes last week and get some yays and nays on things, what to do, what you better not do.
Pastor Larry said they had 66 hours below freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, heck, I mean, we went, what, 3 days before it touched freezing? Because it didn't Monday, it didn't Tuesday. It did Wednesday. It got above freezing by Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Right, it was close. It was only like 34 or 35, but
Yeah. It wasn't too bad. Once that wind got out of here and got away, it was cold, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't nowhere near like it was when that front was moving in here and it had just first started snowing.
I
Now, it was
swear
cold.
though Monday felt colder than Tuesday did when it was snowing.
Ooh, it was.
Monday was miserable cold, like nasty cold.
That's when was that this past Monday when that fella rolled his truck?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought it was longer than that.
Before it snowed.
But yeah, it was. That blasted wind blowing seemed like 55 mile an hour down through here. It's cold. But
I think the snow just made it easier to take.
well, to get out there and kind of thing. We didn't have a book after.
It's cloudy.
Yeah. Once again, I guess since we, like I said, was carrying on about them swarm boxes, moving into, I know I was going to say about the attractants of lemongrass. More of it is lemongrass and what causes bees to want to swarm to a box using lemongrass better. And if you want to build your own swarm lure kind of thing, we'll kind of go through that. But it's pretty well the recipe of building your own swarm lure, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's using the lemongrass and what actually the compounds from lemongrass to the different things to make one, but your main ingredient is your lemongrass oil, but you're using the terpenes and stuff like that out of the lemongrass. But let me see if I can get it pulled up here.
Mm.
And I know some of it's just a real basic run to start with. Then we'll get into a little detail of the lemongrass, what have you. But attracting swarms, lemongrass oil is particularly effective in attracting swarms of bees as its scent mimics a queen bee pheromone. Now, this is Google, making it useful in swarm traps. But what I've got written down here is just more or less mimicking the nasal gland of the bees there. What?
Tim's fine looking Sunday. Go to the meat and chit magnet overall.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Mark just watching this later.
Mr. Mark Miller,
Yeah.
I'm trying to draw me a captain like that, honey. But I don't think I can make them look as good as you
Just
do.
how many are you trying to
Mr.
draw
Mark.
in?
I'm just kidding.
I know.
Yes, sir. I forget whatever Sundays I said. Was it going to be second and fourth Sunday? Is this the last of the
You're gonna have to
February?
go back to the live you said that on and figure that out.
Yeah, it's got to be the fourth because February is next week, right? Today's 26th.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, second Sunday, camo Sunday, fourth Sunday, overall Sunday. We're going to have to get her a pair of them.
Yeah, I thought I had some still, but I don't.
But, all right. Back on the lemongrass real quick.
Sorry.
You okay?
It was just funny.
Mm-hmm. So both lemongrass and spearmint oils can attract or can act as feeding stimulants, encouraging bees readily consume supplemental food sources like sugar syrup and pollen patties. I was talking about combining lemongrass and spearmint essential oil. Studies suggest that these two oils may have some antimicrobial properties that help in managing certain bee diseases. This is what I thought was interesting before we get into it real good. Dilution is key. Always dilute it. It tells you don't put a whole bunch in there because it's like anything else. If you put too much in there, whether it's lemongrass, spearmint, peppermint, eucalyptus, any kind of essential oils, if you put too much, it's going to run them out. Just do a little bit, bam, you're golden. And that's especially what we have figured out with the peppermint and eucalyptus on the beetle situation. But says yes, lemongrass and spearmint, particularly used in essential oils, can be beneficial to honeybees as they are often used as feeding stimulants, helping bees readily consume supplemental food like sugar syrups and patties, and may also have some potential in helping manage certain bee pathogens due to their antimicrobial properties. Beekeepers often use a combination of these oils and products like Honeybee Healthy to supplement their food. Then, what I was going to get into a little bit further, stepping up on this lemongrass, was one of these biologists, if you will, from the University of West Virginia. Okay. This dude wrote some kind of book as well. We'll get in there to it in a second. And he was recognized for some kind of award. So the dude knew what he's talking about, undoubtedly. But his name is Armine, I believe. Amrine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Minnesota Mike said the lemongrass helps with the wax moths too.
Well, getting into, let me see if I can find it without reading all the whole kit and caboodle on everything, but that way we can get on to if you want to use lemongrass or if you want to build your own swarm lure or however you want to do it. Because, like I said, for a lot of season, they're right around the corner. So, a lot of folks that may be getting ready or wanting to do it, then here's a couple ideas if you want to check them out. Let me back up. Working in conjunction with Bob Knoll, a beekeeper from Western Maryland, they have come up with a 3-part all-natural protocol for managing honeybees designed to kill or deter the maximum number of, I'm going to say it, M's, mites, while having very little impact on the bee colony. The results are slated to be published in the International Journal of Archaeology, I'm going to say, June 1st.
A carriage? A carriage?
See, we both have problems with that one. But this is in, all right, let me go back up, tell you what it is. What, if you want to go back and read on it. This is from Science Daily, their website, and it's in their science news, using spearmint and lemongrass to protect bees from, the main deal is threatened against mites on protect using lemongrass. But I believe it does have a brief mention on using it as a swarm lure in here. All right, the results slated to be published in June 1st, but this article was written in 2005 or 6. The protocol involves first treating the hives with 2 essential oils, spearmint and lemongrass, constituents of Honeybee Healthy, a product now marketed by Knoll. It says the African people use lemongrass to manage honeybees for the last 60,000 years. They deserve the original credit for that. We mix the spearmint, and it helps the bees resist the pathogens the mites carry by possibly boosting the immune system, said Amran. The underlying mechanisms of action of essential oils are poorly understood. There are various reports that state that they have actively stimulate the immune system to help fight off pathogens. We treat declining honeybees with Honeybee Healthy, and within 20 days we see improvement. The next step is using special wintergreen formula mixed with grease and shaped into patties. The grease is mixed with sugar, mineral salt, honey, and wintergreen and placed into the hives. Check this out. The bees will eat it, he said. It also combats pathogens and gives the honeybees an edge in improving their health. It doesn't kill bacteria, but it stops their growth. Also, the grease gets on the bees and makes it harder for the mites to try to hitch a ride.
What's the date of this one?
2006, I believe it is.
2006, Philip.
The bees eat it, blah, 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 get the grease on them, and it makes it harder for the mites to hitch a ride. The final part of the protocol involves applying a formula of formic acid to the hive with soap pads that trap the heat and cause the acid to evaporate. Formic acid is present in the honey already in small amounts, he said. Heat from the brood causes the formic acid to evaporate and holds this vapor inside the nest. It kills 93% of the mites inside the hive in a 1-day treatment. All right. Amran has worked with beekeepers across the country and in Europe. In 2006, he was named Researcher of the Year by Florida State Beekeepers for the help he gave some members of a group. every time we went to Florida, we got at least a 93% kill of mites, he said. The beekeepers were amazed to see how well this worked. They've been fighting the mites and colony collapse disease for the last several years. Beekeepers, like any phase of agriculture, have to rely on the unpredictability of nature to make their own living. One colony of bees is worth approximately $250, and pollination contracts with growers can earn a beekeeper as much as $250,000. Those beekeepers using our methods have a lot of bees and are doing quite well, he added. They are amazed to see how well this works. The Amrine is one of the authors of what many may feel is the defining mite guide.
So DC and Philip will know is this the stuff Steve-O puts on his hives for mites and hive beetles?
If he's using like a grease and stuff, then yeah, most likely.
They said it sounds like what Steve-O puts in his hives.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
Steve's Outdoor World. I watch it quite a bit there.
Mm.
I like those Steve. I like his attitude, that thing. But the revised keys to the world genre of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce something. But that's his deal from the University of West Virginia. And it's got anybody that wants to check it out using spearmint and lemongrass to protect bees from mites that threaten hives. And it also talked about not only Varroa destructor, but also trachea mites as well.
This isn't in the bee journal.
This is in Science
Daily or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, ScienceDaily.com, Mr. Randy. Let's see, Chris had a question for you. Are the bees active in the winter?
Oh, Chris?
Yeah.
Depending on where you at, Chris. Buddy, like down here for us, yeah, a lot of times the bees are pretty active because our warmer climates, but for the folks up in the North Country where it stays cold for a full season, then no, their bees don't get out and fly too terribly much, man. And for the ones of you that's really interested and want to check a little bit more research and want to see greater in-depth numbers, go to the Library of Medicine. It's here for, I'm going to pull a Earl. It's here for everybody to see. It's just up to you to go research it and find it yourself and learn these things. It's amazing at what's already out there to take care of pests and remedy problems besides chemical. But the Library of Medicine, Google lemongrass and mites in their little search bar, as well as do a search. Now, this is secondary. Do a second search after you get done with that on essential oils that will, there's essential oils out there that will kill 100% of the mites in there. It's been proven by science. The science is there. All the little fancy numbers you want to see and charts are there for anybody to look at that is proven this works.
What's she say? 2007.
This was May 19th, 2007.
2007.
Science Daily, but the source is from the University of West Virginia. Using spearmint and lemongrass to protect bees from mites that threaten hives is what the heading is on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mr. Roy said you owe that swear jar a lot of money.
I know.
As many times as you've been dropping M-bombs up in here.
I told her, I said, I'm just going to get it out my system and do it this one time, then it's up.
He really misses talking about him deep down, y'all.
Well, I have my moments where,
Yeah.
just a different way to remedy this. And once again, the science, if you want the science, it says 98 to 100% kill. Done. You're not going out there 10 times a week to try and unalive these things. Just do it in a time or two. Bam. Library of medicine. But, all right, yes. Now, moseying back over, I just thought it was interesting because I hadn't seen anything on the lemongrass being a part of the M's on that end. But now we're going to transition back over to the lemongrass and the compounds in there that will help attract swarms to wherever you want to put bees.
Philip's talking to you.
Yes.
He said, it feels good, don't it, Buttons? Let it all out, brother.
Sometimes you got to. I mean, it a dawning of a new day, as they say.
Yeah.
But it'd be another.
I saw that somewhere, DC.
What's that?
He was saying in Canada they did a study with the oils using those little plug-in diffusers.
Yeah, doing the what they call that, like a slow release. I did a little piece on a short or something about that, asking anybody.
Yeah, because Blaine had heard about it, something.
Well, it was it the University of Florida that was doing that?
No, he said in Canada.
In Canada? I'm sorry.
Said it was part of a college study?
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of the plugins out there, and they'd have one or two inside them colonies, and they had thymol in there, and those Glade deals dispersing that small amount of vapor, and they had pretty good results from what they were saying out of it by doing that. But the only downside to that is you have to run umpteen dozen cords out there and
plug them all.
Yeah, doing all that. If you could find a way to make it practical,
battery powered.
Yeah, solar or something along those lines to where.
How's it going? How's solar going to help if it's in the beehive?
Well, I mean, you could have a solar panel on the outside.
Hooked up to it.
Yeah, and let it run on the inside.
Well, Gary, we've never. No, this is just us, but I mean, everybody's gonna have a different experience. But we have never had any luck, and we've tried half a dozen different kinds of traps, but our bees just literally overnight will propolize them shut. So they really don't work for us. There's just no way we can go down twice a day and clean out every hive beetle trap, because that's how quick ours will propolize them.
Well,
so
yeah.
His question was, if you use the traps and you have to put some kind of liquid for them to drown in anyway, why not use the oils then in the traps?
Well, I
see your point.
Yeah.
But just in our situation, I don't know. I guess it's because all the pine and oak trees we have around, but our bees, they will propolize those things closed overnight. So they just never did us any good, really.
Now, what we found is where the bees won't fool with anything, and we're getting on to the hive beetle a little bit on that. But when we use the peppermint extract and eucalyptus mix, getting into the wood,
multitasking, yeah,
we'll get there, y'all. But what we've seen is allowing that oil to soak into the wood is, man, that was like the 100% superior difference.
That made a massive difference.
Besides trying to put a cloth or some kind of, strip in there that would hold the fragrance of whatever oil you're using, it just seemed to work much, much better, allowing it to soak into whether it was the frames or the box.
Yeah, Mr. Russell, I mean, we had tried the vegetable oil. Like, the oil itself wasn't the problem. It was that, you know, it would get, the bees would run 4 or 5 beetles down in the trap. Well, then they'd propolize it shut to keep those in, so then they couldn't run any more in. So the traps were just a never-ending circle with us trying to unblock them.
I'm not, some of y'all, this is kind of a repeat for some of y'all, but anybody that's new. But once we figured out the peppermint and eucalyptus, especially the peppermint, all right, thank you, Earl, on that. But once we figured out, okay, this is how we do it, apply it every 7 days, no more than 10 days at a stretch. Y'all, we did videos and we intentionally let a colony collapse and die. It was a laying worker. We knew it was going to be rough for them, and it was just getting too late in the season to even try to requeen them. So we just kind of let them go on downhill on purpose. But what we didn't do is just leave them to the wolves, if you will. We run that peppermint extract and eucalyptus in there every 7 days, like clockwork. Bam, 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 bam. And they were never taken over by hive beetles, ever. And they were dying colony. They're low in numbers, easily could have been taken over. But if we didn't do that every 7 to 10 days, then within 3 to 5 days after that, they were fully infested. It wasn't just 10 or 20 hive beetles in there. It was full infestations of hundreds of beetles. And go back on some of our stuff and you can see hundreds of beetles in these colonies just within a few days.
We tried the Swiffer sheets too. I mean, like, we gave that a really put a lot of effort into trying that. We really thought that would be a good way to go for us, but it seemed like more bees were getting hung up in them than beetles. But didn't we lose a queen on one?
I think so.
I think that's what ended it for us. Was like, it's just, I don't know. Maybe our bees are just got 6 left feet. I don't know, but we were losing a lot of bees in those sheets.
Y'all, we honestly tried everything out there on the market. Diatomaceous earth, doing
the Grodex stuff in the ground, and I mean, we were treating every way we could.
Beetle barns, oil traps.
Build the vacuum.
Yeah, and the vacuum was the only thing that really saved our behind.
Mm-hmm.
As far as getting them knocked down quick until Earl went to telling everybody about the peppermint.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, the Grodex definitely does help, for sure. But just using Grodex alone, we've still had to fight them some.
Okay, but here's the thing with that. Here's the thing with putting, this is just me and my simple thinking, I'm guessing. All right. By the time you need the Grodex in the ground, the damage is being done up in that colony. All right. So whatever comes out into the ground, yes, it's going to take it out. But if it's the main thing with anything, beetles, mites, wax moths, the whole situation, what's got to be concentrated on all of them is keeping them out. You got to figure out a way to keep them out of that box, and then you can remedy the issues outside the box. But with the hive beetle, oftentimes, if you've got grubs into the ground, then, like I say, it's already too late most times for the colony, because there's hundreds or thousands of hive beetle larvae already in there.
I'm not going to try to type that, but Gary saying he used all screen bottom boards and have metal roofing sheets under the hives. Now we've used stuff like shingles and stuff like that under the hives. I think we tried metal at one point too, something, but our whole, like, everywhere around here is just, it's super, super sandy soil everywhere around us. So, I mean, between the heat, humidity, and the sand, this is like the perfect habitat to breed hive beetles in. I think that has a lot to do with why we have so many more of them too.
Well, and two, where I quit doing a lot of that was when it was brought to my attention of how they done that research of that one little hive beetle larva that walked or crawled, 300 feet out of a building onto the ground, then went and found its place to go. So right there around them, yes, I see the point, but I just got tired of trying to throw carpet on the ground or shingles on the ground to stop it, because I was like, if that little thing's going to crawl 300 feet, then what's 15 more feet right here? It's just going to go find it a place to go.
That's why we just, when the peppermint, when we saw it work so good, we just jumped on it. Because for us, it's the simplest thing we can do that works for us to battle them things.
And I had some people tell me, Tim, I'm not going out there every week to put that concoction in there to do all that. It's worth
it to us to have bees with no beetles.
But here's my logic on that. How many times a week do you go out there and put something on them mites a week?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We can go out there one time a week and put something for hive beetles. And mite treatments are, a daily thing kind of deal. Going out there doing them. So that's where I kind of toss that around in my head of, okay, we've seen what works. We know what works for us. And it's just.
Mike wants to know how we apply it.
What?
The peppermint.
Oh, the peppermint. We get a 2-ounce bottle of peppermint extract, and we have 0.5 milliliters of eucalyptus oil mixed into that. And we shake it up real good, mix them all together. Then usually it's a full, I think it's it's a diabetic syringe is all it is.
It's like 3 ml.
Yeah, I think. It ain't very much on there, but just say a diabetic syringe. You can run half of that from one end of that box all the way to the other on your frame rest, jump down to the other end of your frame rest and do the exact same thing. Bam. That's all you got to do to it. Let it soak in and go. Come back 7 days later, do it again, and so on and so forth. And you will see a huge difference on that. But we done went right down. Oh, is there any more questions on that? Then we'll get back to the lemongrass.
I know, DC. Maybe we have to wait till spring to do this one. He said you hadn't done a video on how you apply it in a while, so maybe a new one is in order.
Yeah, I think it was year before last. Because last year, like y'all know, we wasn't able to work our bees.
I know, we're going to try it, DC. Because I'm with you. I think it would. I think that would make a difference and we wouldn't have to apply it as much.
Was it finding something that?
No, Mike, it does. We do 1 syringe per box.
Yeah.
So that might, if you got 5 high, then we go across the top bars on every box. So
now, if it's anything above like a double anything, whether you're doing double deeps or a medium or deep and a medium, vice versa, whatever it is, we do the top portions like she's saying. Then at the entrance
A
Well-
very, very small amount
Yeah,
at the entrance.
we'll put a good little dab right there at that entrance to remedy anything trying to get in that front door, and it deters them quite well.
Now that's something I have not heard of, Gary. He said it would take some money, but I wonder if a study's ever been done about using ultraviolet light at the hive entrance.
I'm not sure, but that would be wonderful if there was something that would just immediately wouldn't harm the bees, but immediately either deter them or unalive, adult, anything, mite, wax moth, beetle, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah, I've seen that, Matt. That Chris Werner and Bob Benny. He said they had a great video talking about how Chris deals with beetles, uses camphor, eucalyptus, and tea tree oil with shop towels. We saw that. That was really interesting.
It worked. In the mix of this lemongrass and that peppermint, now this was just one of the other things. It was talking about the lemongrass and the M's, okay? And when the bees ingest that, or they said for beekeepers that are not so much beginners, but maybe on a little bit more advanced level, spraying the frames with the essential oils. Okay. Very lightly spray the frame is the way they explained it in the library of medicine. But it just brought to my attention with the candies, the peppermint candies, is this why that the reason they stored this around the brood. But undoubtedly with the smell of either lemongrass or peppermint or the spearmint, that it completely deterred any kind of pest, no matter what it was. And that's explained in depth in the Library of Medicine on the lemongrass and mites, not the 10 essential oils. On the Library of Medicine, there's two different parts you can look up. But that as well, like I say, has got all the percentages and numbers, and it breaks every bit of it down in there for folks that want to get truly in depth with it. I'm fixing to cut it out in just a second, DC.
What?
He said, you said M so many times, you may as well just say it. Well, a little bit of both, because the way they were explaining it and the way we've talked about it before, and this is 100% proof on the M's, the mites. The theory kind of lays the same for us on the beetles, but just to think about it whenever you go hunting. Whenever you go out there in the woods, most hunters put on what? A cover scent. So whatever you're out there trying to get for the dinner table, it can't smell you, that kind of thing. So they said it definitely helps on that with the mites. Well, yeah, the peppermint being good for gut health with the bees, the lemongrass being good for gut health on the bees, as well as trachea mites using lemongrass, and the same thing with the peppermint. And that's where we got the idea of thinking, well, we often seen the bees storing the peppermint around the brood quite often. Is that something that they fed to the brood to help mask them from any mites or anything like that? But like I said, the science gets a little more in depth on the Library of Medicine on all that. Okay. Now I'm bounce back to this lemongrass and using it for as a swarm lure. What I wrote down a while back was, what is lemongrass oil used for in beekeeping? The smell of lemongrass mimics the smell of the scout bees scenting the location of a new home and helps draw in more scouts. Compounds found in lemongrass that attract bees. Citral. All right, here we go. You can start building your own. Citral, geraniol, or geraniol, Geranial, on the geraniol all, because you got the oil and the all in there, but they're both the same thing, the terpenes in there. And just for FYI, what are terpenes, also known as isoprenoids, are the largest and most diverse group of naturally occurring compounds that are mostly found in plants, but larger classes of terpenes, such as sterols, can be found in animals. Results show and studies confirm lure baited with citral or geraniol. Just remember those two is all you got to do, because the neuralic acid, you have to be a scientist to buy, undoubtedly. But citral you can get off Amazon. The geraniol you can get off Amazon. And that's what's used to attract more swarms. All this come off a study from, what was that dude's name? There's two of them. Schmidt and Thone. They done a study back in the late 80s, and they was trying to, whenever them Africanized bees, they was trying to figure out ways to catch them swarms without those Africanized bees moving north. But when they was in Mexico, they was trying different things to see what would attract those swarms to where they can hopefully try to null out those populations. But we know that didn't happen. But the citral and geraniol was the main two byproducts of lemongrass that they used most. And that was their 85 to 95% of catching swarms is whenever they mix the, what it is on Amazon now, it's citral acid or citric acid. I think a lot of packaging has a picture of a lemon on it. It smells like lemon. It smells like lemongrass. The geraniol is one of the terpenes out of it. And a lot of times that's like in a little old, if I remember right, kind of like a stainless steel looking little jar you get so many ounces out of. But it's a 1-to-1 mix based off Schmidt and the other dude that done theirs back in the 80s. The closest thing to mimic the nasonol pheromone being that 1-to-1 mixture. Where's my other part in here? Also, if you want to look further into it, the Library of Medicine, once again, and it gives you the exact same things of the pheromone of bee colonies. And what was that dude's name? Ken Europe, I believe it is one of the other fellows mentioned in making the exact same deal on a swarm lure. But the closest thing as far as oils to mimic that nasonol gland is either going to be, now, Mr. Russell Amon, you had sent me a page on this the other week whenever we mentioned it, but was the lemon myrtle. And yes, the lemon myrtle can be harmful to the bees, but if used in very, very small amounts, is going to be your best as far as the one essential oil that carries the highest amount of citral, and that being 90 to 98%. Then there was another one, was it Mei Chang? And it's some type of Asian plant. but it carries around 90% of the citral, which is what mimics the nasonoph gland to draw in more scout bees. Then you get down to lemongrass, and what people believe is much, much safer to leave in there or spray into your swarm traps, being at 65 to 85% on the citral. And that's why most oftentimes for centuries, what have you around here, that beekeepers just simply use the lemongrass. Richard, I don't know about using no lemon pledge. Try it out and let us know how it goes. Oh, Gary Stewart too said, I bet pledge furniture polish would work on swarm traps. Y'all let us know how that goes. What do you say, Joey? Yes, DC, we pretty well got all our little, what we've had in the years past put together. Frames are cleaned up. We've got enough left over on some old brood frames and stuff. We can stick in about 5 traps. And we've got one sheet of 1/2-inch luan out there that is going to be those bigger boxes that I'm going to try to, I guess, copycat Philip over there and maybe do like a Texas deep box, then put some frames together or something to go in there just to have us going. But yeah, as of right now, we got about 5 or 6 for sure that ready to go. Then once we build these other ones, we'll have another 5 or 6 to put out there as well. Plenty of places to put them too. So Lord willing, it'll be a good swarm season and we can get built up pretty quick. No, it's I smell every time you use a swarm commander. Probably what it is in there, Gary, is the citric acid, the citral that you're smelling in there. Like I say, I don't know his recipe. I don't know Bob's recipe, anything like that. What I'm telling y'all is coming out of the Library of Medicine and what 2 scientists done back in the 80s, and that was what they used for their best results. And oftentimes people still are using today as far as making their own. What else was in there?
Mm-hmm.
I think that was about it on that one. Yep. He just got here.
Oh.
It's warming up out there. Oh. But that's that. Y'all hit the button or we'll go to whatever y'all got in the chat. Pledge.
Larry Moore ain't got it out of his system yet.
Mm-mm.
I'm not saying that foul language.
I'm gonna say it one more time. There you go.
I'll get it out your system tonight.
Tonight's the night.
Because I'm over it again already.
Yep. It'll be 9 more months before we talk about them again. So just we'll have a full run of it.
That swear jar sitting over there thinking cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Oh, that baby running over tonight. We did not.
I did not, Mr. Dan. I bet that was good. You feel better now, Larry.
Well, if Todd was able to be with us, he could do the A's,
Mm-hmm.
get it out of his system. Yeah, there we go, Gary. There's the
You're
end.
catching on. Usually that kind of language is not allowed on this
Yeah,
channel.
we forbid most of that talking. around here. So we try
Yep.
to find something else.
Honey made from bug poop.
Well,
Lanternfly honey. So what were some of the benefits, Mr. Dan?
it makes pretty good honey though.
Apparently.
That-
Everybody saw it but us.
Yeah,
Because you too busy researching dirty words.
I have been. I got stuck on that, and I was like, well, let me just rummage through, tell them where you can go find it, and you can blame the scientists.
Gosh, DC, get it right. I'm just picking. I thought it was poop too. I didn't know it was pee. I know I'm in the same boat, Gary. I'm not sure. Really? That's interesting.
We was talking about that Manuka honey last night with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That little family get together.
There's no pee emoji.
Somebody should put the little. Y'all remember?
Make a meme.
Yeah, the meme. I don't imagine most of y'all remember, but the little guy that was, he was like P on Ford or P on Chevy or
Yeah.
whatever.
You got a point there, Russell.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Until it's one of them that you get educated and go, well, I guess it's not technically bee vomit,
Yeah.
but you can lead everybody else to continue to believe that that's what it is.
Got y'all good, huh?
Oh, that's one. Yeah, tell me what it is after I taste it.
Yep.
Brown and C in here. Well, we've had a good little steady crowd this evening. Appreciate y'all.
Too bad we ain't got something more enjoyable to talk about than dirty words.
Well, like I was telling you, let me finish out.
With him, y'all.
Let me finish out my swarm boxes and swarm lures, and next week we'll dig around into that bee journal or whatever topic we get into.
Yeah.
But trying to think.
Oh, did you get some this year, Mr. Nan? Like your bees got a good flow off of that to make some honey?
Mm-mm. Bee bar.
I just saw that.
Yeah.
I have to agree with you. I mean that doesn't sound very appetizing.
Especially if you didn't.
Try
Really
my bee
know.
bar honey here. Yeah, especially if you didn't really know.
I'm good, man.
But we know a woman that just finding out, like she liked honey before, but just simply finding out that honey is actually just vomited up. She won't touch honey anymore. She's like, all I can taste is vomit now because that's all I'm thinking about in my brain.
It didn't go into their stomach. It went into a little holding chamber. Then it's just them, passing it off to another one. Then the process of honey begins.
That sounds pretty good, Mr. Name. Frank puts the dirty words in a pepper shaker and puts them on pizza. I have not tried that one, Frank. I think I'm gonna pass.
Uh,
I'm still stuck on the bee bar. I
Yeah.
don't know if I could put that on a business card. You know what I mean?
I mean, to some people, yeah, I get it's kind of catchy, but for the main folks, I'd be like, no. Definitely get their attention.
Yeah.
How would you label the honeydew one then? Poo and goo?
It's bug poop turned into bee bar.
Mm-hmm.
He said it's mixed with a goldenrod, Mr. Dan. And it's a little bit smoky. His lanternfly honey. Poo-goo. DC stuck on poo-goo now.
Yeah.
That's what he's gonna call lanternfly honey from here on out.
Well, I mean,
Mm.
hearing y'all stories, the ones of you that have them old lantern flies, I don't know if we have any down here or not. If we do, there ain't many of them. Now we got the other little anthropods or whatever you want to call them that make a honeydew, but it's not the.
Yeah, DC is stuck on the poo-goo.
We'll be waiting for that video, DC.
That's who talks about it. I knew somebody did. Yeah, Charlie talks about it all the time.
That's right.
Having
Yep.
the lanternfly.
Yep. If I remember right, early in the season of 24, they was talking about that they didn't have too much of it, but a year or so before that, they had a pretty good run of honeydew from them lantern flies.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I understand, that they are an invasive little critter.
I hate this keyboard. Every single time I type Joey's name in the chat, the next thing that pops up is a kangaroo emoji.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I type Joey's name in the chat, it pops up the kangaroo emoji.
Let's put that in there for sure.
Yeah. I guess so.
Ralph. That's what you call it, Ralph.
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
DC Minnesota Mike mentions them quite a bit up here too.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Help the
Richard.
honeybee with the drought.
Okay.
That's interesting. Hmm.
So when them things crank up, like, is it a spring run or a summer or a fall deal with
Mr.
them?
Dan said his is mixed with goldenrod.
Some more of a fall, maybe.
I don't know. I guess he could have mixed them. Is there a better way to clean plastic frames than a pressure washer?
Mm.
Golden rain, honey. These
Nah, that's about the easiest way I know of. Who was that, Larimore?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about the easiest way I know of besides scraping them
them with a
doggone
hive
things.
tool. He said their label actually had a cartoon picture of a bee puking up honey. Joey said throw them away.
Larimore, I guess it depends on too. I see where you're going with it, that if them frames are dried out pretty good, or that wax is dried out pretty good, it'll knock on off. But there's still any kind of moisture to that wax, it's going to be a booger or it is a booger to get it washed off. But
Okay, Richard said he got the lanternflies in the fall all over the grapes
Okay.
where he's at.
So I guess 2 and 2 there is going to
But
be more.
Richard, I don't remember. Where are you? What state are you in, Richard? I can't remember where he was.
I guess he's up there with them flies. He's in the North Country somewhere.
You can boil foundations clean.
It won't warp them.
I'm gonna tell you yes, because I don't want my cook pots disappearing for you to boil frames in. Oh, wow. He said, I bought some used equipment, wax moth destroyed, but there's about 200 of them. Okay, Joey said they'll warp. Okay, Richard's up in Ohio, so he's way over there.
Dang, Larimore. I can't think of any kind of easy way without blasting wax moth damage, except for just, yeah. Only thing I'd say to do without having it just gumming up on you just as bad, we just scrape it down.
Yeah.
Grab some kids and say, look, this is what we got to do.
Larimore said, I like Joey's idea.
Lee's hollering pressure washer.
Mm-hmm.
Get 200 frames.
Okay, Mr. Dan said the fly becomes an adult in late August to September. So yeah, definitely fall.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's good for you. Show enough in the fall if they go to putting out.
Tom and Melissa got a good idea. Hire a kid to clean them.
That's it. That's what I'm talking about.
That's how you do it. It sounds like they're speaking from experience there.
For every 10 frames you clean, I'll give you $1.
Yeah.
Get after
That kind of wages don't fly these days. I don't know. You might get lucky and find a good country kid.
Yeah, that's what you need. Good youngins. The ones that, I'll help you out. It ain't no problem. That's when you pay them.
Yeah.
Slide them $50.
Mm-hmm. Well,
we're done with that. We ain't glaring in my eyeballs.
About?
I don't know. We ain't been to food yet. Y'all want would derail and go to food. Who's had the best meal and what's it been?
I don't remember what Lee was talking about when he did the camera check with. Oh, pork loin.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, Lee cooked him a pork tenderloin. Let's say corn, something else.
Mm-hmm. Rice and gravy.
Mm-hmm. We made some kind of, I don't know what you call it.
That's got to be Tom. Said preferably your own kid. You want to eat dinner this week? Get them done.
That's where I'm saying, yes, sir.
Oh, what'd you think, Larimore?
Oh.
Hey, Joey.
Hey.
He's behind the black there.
I had to turn my camera on.
What you know good?
Oh, not much. I started to type all this out. And I said, I won't be able to do it in time. Pressure washing plastic foundation is not too bad. It's still a lot of work. Pressure washing plastic frames is a lot of work, and it will soak you because every time you hit those little holes in there, it's coming right back at you. Dirt and all. Everything that's in there is coming back at you. I figured it'd be easy to come on and say that.
There we go. Yeah. Well, hopefully that's a good help to you there, Larry Moore. That way, did he say if he had frames, plastic, or just a foundation?
I don't know if he's talking about he made biscuits.
Oh,
He tried our biscuit video.
ooh, I hope you enjoyed them, man. Them babies are good.
He said they was good. My wife said you've been watching Hannah cook again.
Yeah.
Let's see. Larimore said he has a torpedo tip.
Mm. I don't know if that'd be too heavy on them things or not. Maybe like a 40 degree or something like that. Probably if you get down on them good. What color tip are you using, Joey? Yellow or white?
Yellow.
Yellow. Yeah, that'd be.
Now,
I'd say one of your best.
not. I had an electric pressure washer, and it just didn't seem to do the job. And I purchased a gas one, had a lot more pressure to it, and it cleaned them good. But like I say, you're gonna get soaking wet. So this is not the time of the year to pressure wash them.
No, sir. Wait for that good warm spell.
Yeah.
Especially like you saying, getting
Yeah.
all that mess splashing back at you.
But you know, if you got a bunch of them and you want to try to save money, it might be worth it after you work all day and look back and see what little bit you got done. You might change your mind.
Yeah.
Well, Lord willing, the wax moth damage that there is on them, hopefully it's like plenty old, because y'all know how it is on some of them. When the wax moth have been in there for a long time, you can pretty well just, knock the blasted webbing off and it pulls 3/4 of it out anyway.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's where most of his is, besides some fairly fresh stuff. Then, like watching your intro, while you on here, let me ask you this then. Watching your intro, how you dip yours, you'll do one side, flip her over, and do the other side. They build out pretty good with you just dipping it around like that.
Yeah. There's only about 2 inches of wax in that water. But it collects a lot more wax on there than you would think it would. Now, the first time I ever saw him get done like that, I'm trying to think of his name. He don't do videos anymore, but he used to have a big boiler and it had boiling water in it, and he set another bucket of wax down in that, and he just had full bucket of wax, and he was dipping that whole thing. But it was going everywhere. And I got to reading the comments, and several other people said they do basically the same thing, but just a few inches of wax in the water. So I started doing it that way, and it worked just as good. Now you want it kind of rolling, but you don't want it too cool. If you get too cool, it'll leave too much wax on there.
Yeah.
But how many foundation can you run through that?
I usually, probably the most I've ever done at one time, one sitting, was maybe 40 and,
Oh, shoot. Okay.
and about 2 inches of wax, 2 or 3 inches of wax, something like that.
I say that's pretty good. Getting a good healthy amount.
But when the layer starts getting too thin, you can kind of tell it's not quite getting enough on there. You can just throw another little block of wax down in there and go again. And you got to be pretty quick with it. Just hit the bottom with it and pull it back up.
Mm-hmm.
If you leave it in there too long, it's going to warp that plastic foundation.
Yeah.
They do that. I mean, most of y'all know too, and Joey, you probably done this as well, but using that little sponge roller, mini roller, now that baby will work. But if you can just dip them dudes right on, flip it over, and bam,
Mm-hmm.
move on.
Robert's asking if dipping it like a candle. I don't know. I don't do candles. So I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't done candles either. He was saying too, though, to freeze them first. It'll dry it out and it'll come off much easier with a hive tool. I never thought
Yeah,
about
that's the way we do regular foundation.
that. Mm-hmm.
Put it in the freezer, let it stay in there a couple of days, and bring it out and just scrape it and brush it with a good
Yeah.
stiff brush, like a tire brush or something. You don't have to have it pretty clean like a brand new one, just fairly clean, and then re-wax.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I say, you fix and re-dip that baby anyway. Just get up much of that webbing off there, or silk, whatever you want to call the mess.
Yep.
Like Gary's saying, a wire brush will go a long way too.
Probably so. I wouldn't hit it real hard with it. Probably scar it up pretty good. But it'd do it.
Now, like you saying, well, like a stiff bristle tire brush, something along those lines, like you talking.
Yeah. But if they're real bad, I don't mess with them no more. I always try to buy me an extra box of plastic. Punch that thing out, and throw another one in.
Well, in the long run, it's going to save you. Well, save what good wax you can, which I mean, everybody in here pretty well knows that. You can get something off there, it's a little bit to add to your pile.
Yeah.
But with them blasted wax moths, like I say, if they get in there too bad, it ain't even worth the effort to even just try to
Well,
save that stuff.
I tell you what, our mentor that used to run the River Regions, where me and Mike Berry and Mr. Ed, Good Time Charlie, he used to keep, when he would buy the plastic frames, now not wooden frames with plastic foundation, but the plastic frames, if he had any that got old, the old comb on it or whatever, he would actually let the wax moss work for him. He'd save those boxes that come in. He'd fill those boxes back up with those frames and just kind of close the lid. Don't tape them down, just close it up and put it in the barn. During the summertime, wax moths would get in there and eat those things up, eat all that wax up. And there's really nothing but powder on those things. They're a lot easier to clean then. He said he could pull them back out and brush them off and go again. Of course, he painted his wax on.
Well, I mean, that makes good sense. Like I say, if
That's the
y'all
way
gonna
he
get in there,
does. Yeah. But, wax moth can't really hurt those plastic frames. You just put it up for the summer and let them clean it up and eat it up. And that fall or that winter or whatever, or next spring, pull them out and brush them off.
y'all take that in, like you said, plastic frames.
Right? Plastic frames.
Because if it's in wood, y'all know what's gonna happen. They're gonna burrow anywhere they can in that doggone wooden frame.
But I bought plastic frames my first 2 or 3 years, and I've been phasing them out ever since. I still got a few bopping around in there. Most of what I have now, with the exception of a handful, I still got several boxes of them for mediums, but just about got all the deeps gone.
What would they just Just not something you preferred, or what was there?
I just got to where I didn't like them. One thing that really gets me is when they're all in the box and they got them properly together, and you start trying to push that frame apart, it'll bow in the middle, and it'll bow enough in the middle of that foundation to mash a queen, and I always worried about that.
Mm,
As far as I know, I never mashed one, but when I see it do that, I cringe.
yeah. You figured them things would be a little more rigid and not,
Yeah,
you know,
you'd think, but they'll bow.
that's crazy. Like I said, we ain't never fooled with no plastic frame. Everything we got, like everybody else, wooden frame with plastic foundation in it.
And they will get old and brittle where they start cracking when you start popping them apart. It those ears on the end are cracked. That's after they're a few years old.
I figured them things, don't get me wrong, but be a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I'm just not a. There's nothing wrong with them. I'm just not a big fan of plastic frames. That's
Mr.
right.
Dan, he said, Joe, I don't know if you can see the comments, but Mr. Dan Weaver saying, aside from cutting the divot into the wood, does it really make or does it really hurt anything? Uh,
Most times, probably not. Just make them look ugly.
yeah, if
See
you
Bob in
get,
there. Hey, Bob.
what do you say, Bob? Hope you're doing well too, man. Uh,
I've got frames and boxes with those old worm grooves all in them. They might look ugly, but they still do the job.
well, hey, as long as like I say, she'll still do the job.
You'd
Okay,
probably be
Ricky said,
surprised how much a bees will clean it out too. Once like if you got a wooden frame and you just pop a new foundation or a re-wax foundation in it, you just
yes.
knock the most you can off that wooden frame. Those bees will clean it up if it's in their way.
Uh, I didn't even think about this, but this Ricky's saying too many high beetle hidey holes in those plastic frames. Uh, he says he's still phasing them out too.
Yeah. I guess that's so on some brands, and I don't. I know some of them. If the high beetle gets down in there, that bee can get in there too and run them out. But some of them has got the smaller hose, but I never really paid attention what brand it would be, and that bee can't get in there to make them move again. So I don't know what brand that is.
All right, Bob's saying the Sursa one is better, I guess. Not so much beetle issue on that end, or hidey holes, I guess.
I think I remember Randy McCaffrey saying something about that. That those beetles couldn't hide in it as well or something. I really didn't know what he was talking about. And that was the stair sale.
Mr. Dan Weaver saying, he said, I don't care for him. He tossed them all, Mr. Dan Weaver. So they made a drone sale on some of the edges of them, DC, or the site, or a sale big enough for them to draw up drone sales on the edges. All right. Well, for the ones of you that like the plastic there, where we go here?
Yeah, that I see they talking about some they had it to Nobby. Yeah, they're solid frames and they are heavier.
What about the head of that? What you was talking about some bone?
I don't know if I'm locking up or you locking up.
I think it's ours on our end. I was trying to put that comment back, and I was having to smash it 2 or 3 different times for whatever reason.
I can't remember what that brand was they're talking about, but it was solid. It looked like it was solid like a wood frame all the way around.
Is that the 21st you're talking about, Tom? Then there's it. There, Tom or Melissa saying the frames are completely solid with no holes for the high beams to hide in. Gary's saying they made them solid so the frames are more rigid. One day it might be some of ours. We're supposed to get weather moving in here either sometime tonight or tomorrow. Y'all gonna be getting a bunch of this rain too, Joey?
I know it's supposed to rain tomorrow, but I don't know. Last time I looked a couple of days ago, it looked like it was going to rain 2 or 3 days, but somebody says it's just going to rain tomorrow. I don't even look no more. It's always wrong. Mine is always wrong until like the day of, and then you go back and check it, and it'll be right.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Dan's talking about that now, how they would flex real bad. I know where the queen is, that didn't bother me too much, but even if you got one with sails on it, you could actually mess a good sail up trying to pry that frame apart and it bend it in the middle.
Just smash them to you
Yeah.
next spring. Yeah, Robert, all the snow was gone. Our snowman melted probably early this morning by the time the dust settled. It was pretty well gone today. But it sure was pretty while it was here. I don't know. I just guess stay on our end traditional with old wooden and plastic foundation. And how much are them things? I imagine they probably cost more than frames and foundation.
I didn't even look at the price of them. I was trying to find them on my phone. I don't see them.
Well, I tell you, somebody ain't seen them here unless whenever Hannah had the chat, but old Mr. JW. He's out there setting coon traps, I bet you.
Huh.
The Hive IQs. I ain't heard of that bunch, DC. Was that frames or just a different style hive somebody come out with now?
Yeah, well.
Uh, Yes, we fit to wind her up here in a few minutes. We no, our weeks start where our next 2 weeks are really gonna be a humdinger. We're gonna be driving back and forth from the Gulf every day, working down there. That's gonna be lovely.
Ooh.
2.5 hours of driving there, work 8 hours, 2.5 hours on the way back home. That's why we get Hannah to do all the work. That way I can drive back home
Mhm.
for that 5 hours.
I'm used to it.
I used to do that a lot. Be on the road almost as long as my work day was.
Yes, sir.
Come
We did
home, grab a bite to eat, go to bed, and get up and do the same thing again.
it. Alarm clock go off at 3. You rolling out 4:30 or 5. We did it for 4, 4 or 5 months after one of them. Oh, what was it? Salad come through here.
Speak of the devil.
Look there, we done talked the man up, Mr. JW. He heard us talking about him. Hannah said, "Hey, Mr. JW." He had to get up and move around a little bit, get out of that chair. Well, Mr. Dan, this particular place we're working on is Hannah's uncle's, and we could stay down there, but between we've got a zoo here at the house. Between dogs, cats, chickens, flying squirrel now. Uh, it'd be just too much to ask somebody to come by and let the dogs out or load everybody up and take them down there on top of that. But uh, it's aggravating, but we can handle it for that 2 weeks.
You know, I noticed on y'all's video, changing the subject on you a little bit, on one of y'all's videos the other day, that squirrel was really active. We
In
used
the
to have
middle of
one.
the day.
We used to have one in the daytime. He'd barely move around. It started getting late. He'd go running around the cage like that, playing. He wasn't active when it was daylight.
You got the days and nights mixed up.
Yeah, she I guess she gets up on our schedule kind of thing. Whenever we get up in the morning times, we start turning lights on. She'll start moving around a little bit. Then we'll feed her. She'll sleep for a couple hours, and I don't know if it was just that perfect timing to where she wanted to get up and start running around while we did the video. But we had already done that video one time, and the dogs went to barking worse than what Jasper did in that video. And we had to do away with that whole bit that we just done. And she was playing like that the whole time in there as well. Then after the last time when Jasper about knocked the camera over, we just said, "Look, this is everybody knows us anyway, and we're going to do a full unedited version of everything." But a lot of people was commenting about that little old squirrel was just busy as it could be and running around. Yeah. But she has definitely opened up, I guess. I'll say that. Rodney Middleton was telling us, y'all gonna have a lot of fun with that little old squirrel. And she I don't know, she's just in her own little world learning how to play now, I guess.
I had a regular gray squirrel when I was a kid at home. probably I was probably around sixth or seventh grade, and he just run loose in the house. I'd come in from school. First thing I had to do. Nobody was there. Mama was at that time working in the garment plant, and Daddy was working on the road. I'd come in. I had to sit down. I could hear his feet on that wooden floor. When I walk in the door, he'd run hide, and I'd just sit down there at the table and start doing my homework. And I'd hear them little feet. They'd stop. I'd hear them coming closer and closer. I'd turn around about halfway. It'd take off and hide again. It wasn't scared of you, but that's just the way it played. It'd do that about 3 times, and then it'd come jump in my lap, wanting some pecans or acorns or something. I'd give him. It didn't matter what I gave him to eat. He loved to run to our screen door and hang upside down on that screen door and eat it, no matter what it was.
This little thing she's fell in love with. She's just now starting to eat. We're trying to wean her off that bottle a little bit, but buddy, she loves apples. That little thing eat her whole weight in some doggone apples.
Huh.
And blueberries. She don't want the hole on that blueberry. She'll pull every bit of that, that outside of that blueberry. She'll pull it off and get down to the good stuff.
Yeah. Now, do y'all ever let it run loose inside yet?
Not with Jasper.
No, Jasper.
Well, I was thinking about him too, but those cats, man, those cats.
Yeah.
It won't take but one look.
I'd have to ring her now.
Now, when we get her now, we'll call her like you call a dog or something like that, and she's figured out the sound, and she'll come running up that little limb and flip upside down and get on that metal that's on the top right there. But it takes to both of us now. One of us has to push the lid back, and either or whoever one of us has to catch her and cup her a little behind real fast. Yeah. Then we take her into our bedroom where ain't no dog or cat gonna get in there to her and feed her and let her. We usually let her run around about 30, 45 minutes while we up doing, but she's definitely testing her little limits now. Running and jumping. She wants to jump from me to Hannah all the time now, back and forth.
Yeah. It amazes me how them things can glide.
Oh yes, you stretch her. She's a little stretchy little thing. You can stretch her out across there. Yes, sir, Mr. Dan. That's one of the ones that Cat brought up and dropped off. Dropped it on Hannah's foot out there at the evening. He was like, well, this one didn't make it. Then all of a sudden I hear somebody like police knocking at the door. And I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? And Hannah's got her hands over the top of it so it can't run away anymore. And she's trying to stretch out and kick the door to get my attention. And finally we got it picked up, and we did give her a bigger aquarium, but it ain't gonna be long before we're gonna have to upgrade on that. Much as she's running around. But yeah, she's doing well. She's getting a little fluff ball.
My uncle, they had a tree had fell or something in their yard, and they ended up with like 5 of those little young squirrels, the regular gray squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, Gary.
There you go.
He passed them out to several different people. One of the uncles that he gave it to, he built a cage. It was about 6 foot long and about 2 by 2 foot by 2 foot on a limb. And that squirrel could run up and down that limb and all around in that cage, up in a tree. When he wanted to go outside, instead of letting the cats and dogs get after him, he'd go put him in that cage for a couple hours.
I
That's
found
what
one
we're
of the
doing.
foundations for you, Joseph.
What's that?
I found one of those foundations for
Oh,
you.
did you?
I don't know if you can see it on here or not.
Let me get you solo here. May have to tilt it the other way, see if it'll go.
That background's playing with it.
Yes, sir. Oh, there it was. Just had it.
See the cells on the top edge?
That your background still messing with it again, there, Gary.
Is that one of the solid ones? I can't really see it that good.
You might have to cut your background off, Gary.
Let me try.
Oh, is that the Saracel?
This is an outfit out of Australia, actually.
Okay.
All
Got the
around
round.
the outside edge, the cells are like they're already drawn.
Yeah.
So is that one of the better ones everybody's talking about?
It's just one of the new ones that doesn't have those grooves so the beetles don't go in there. Once the wax drawn out on it, it's all completely flush all the way across, and it's nothing but cells. There's no grooves at all. But I haven't seen anybody in the United States sell these, at least not yet. I'm sure they're, a little pricey.
Yeah, if they happen to ship them from over there. Dennis, what'd your friend have? They have one of them little sugar gliders. They pretty much the same thing as them flying squirrel. I guess cousin or something.
Yeah, my son had a couple of them for his kids when they were younger. They'd go in your pocket. They'd go hide in your pocket.
That's about how she does.
Yeah.
Any little place a hive beetle can get to, they'll hide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you give them any opportunity.
That's probably a stronger frame there too. With that, it's more solid instead of having that H shape on the edge.
I'm sure it's a lot stiffer. It'll probably be a lot resistant to sagging.
Yeah. Is the top doing the same way?
Yeah, he goes all the way
top
across the bottom and both sides.
That probably wouldn't be so bad.
But you're still going to get blasted when you pressure wash it.
Probably so.
Because all those little holes are going to catch that water.
Actually, when I used to pressure wash all mine, I would do all the regular foundations first, and then do the plastic frames, because I knew it was on then. Because it's gonna come. It's just like having a pressure washer war with somebody. It's coming right back at you.
No matter what angle you got on, huh?
Yeah.
And when you wear glasses, it makes it even worse.
Yep.
Now you on to something there, Mark Miller. As much as they love to hide in them nook and crannies, then he's saying could it be possible to build a frame with a trap built in for them blasted beetles?
No.
The only hiccup would the bees propolizing whatever entrance they could go in and emptying whatever little reservoir that they got caught up in. But yeah, they might be on to something. Mark says somebody build one of them. Y'all send me a check every month.
Here's something I thought was cool. I went out and took my thermal to the hives yesterday through all the snow. And when I turned around to come back to the house, we'll have to do this again.
Dennis Barney, we do on our lane straw stuff, but in the horizontal hives, everything we have is slats. So it sits right on top of the frames. There isn't any voids or space.
I just thought that was cool that you could actually see my footprints in the snow with that thermal camera. That's from when I walked out to the hives.
Ain't that something?
Do you have a FLIR or what brand is yours, Gary?
I have both a FLIR C3 and a Top Dawn. This was done with the Top Dawn. It just plugs into my iPhone. And I actually like it better. It's a lot smaller. It's a lot cheaper. And the pictures go directly to my cell phone, so I don't have to worry about downloading anything. You know, if I want to share something, I can just share it directly off of my phone. With the FLIR, you have to download it to your phone or download it to your computer or something like that before you can post it. It's about $200, I think, for a Top Dawn. And it's pretty sensitive. I mean, when I get up close to the hives, I can actually see individual bees moving inside there, you know, when they're not tightly clustered.
Dennis, most oftentimes we would find them in the corners, or they would run them between the frame rest and the box right there. That little bit of space you have, 99% of the time, they was up in there or down in a bottom corner. It wasn't very often we'd see them on an inner cover. From time to time, don't get me wrong, you'd see a few up there, but most oftentimes they have them on the bottom portion of the inner cover, if you will. But yeah, we're gonna wind her on up this evening. They prepare for our week coming up. But yeah, brother, we appreciate you dropping by, and Lord willing, next Sunday, come on in a little early and we'll chit chat and carry on. And Joey, appreciate you dropping by this evening too, brother.
Yeah.
But till then, you know,
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go back and watch the rerun because I missed the first half.
You all right, brother? We appreciate you. But God bless y'all. Laura willing, we'll see you on the next one. Y'all take care.
Have a good one.
All right.
Well, guess that's it for today. See you next time at Gunline Bees.